Item on the agenda is called to order. The second is presentation and discussion of contract with community support on the proposed budget request for 2022-23. And I think we will skip A and go to B, Brazos County Emergency Communications District 911. Patrick.
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Corley. I'm the Executive Director of Brazos County Emergency Communications District. Okay, perfect. Okay, I want to start, I know you've got a lot to hear today, so I'm going to keep this as brief as I can, maybe not go into quite as much detail as I have in years past, especially since most of you are familiar with our operation. Brazos County 911 District is one of 77 agencies that are responsible for administrating 911 service within the state of Texas. Contrary to what our name might suggest, we're not part of Brazos County government, but we're actually a political subdivision of the state of Texas and considered a special district. We've been around since the late 80s. We were founded after a local ballot measure here in Brazos County, and the rules for our governance are outlined in the Texas Health and Safety Code in Chapter 772. Exactly what do? We really have two distinct missions. There's a 911 side of our business and the dispatch side of our business. A lot of people consider those to be the same thing, and they're definitely complementary to one another. But the 911 side of our business can really be thought of as a telecommunications service. It involves a lot of equipment, a lot of behind-the-scenes routing and database and network, and it's what accepts calls from our service providers and routes them to the appropriate dispatch center. The dispatch side of our business is what takes place once that phone call is answered. It involves processing 911 calls, non-emergency calls, entering that information into our computer-aided dispatch system, dispatching and tracking field units. It's important to note two things here. One, each one of these businesses is funded by its own unique revenue source. So 911 is funded by 911 service fees. The dispatch operation is funded with annual dispatch contracts between the city of Bryan and Brazos County. And we run those essentially as two separate businesses with two separate incomes. One thing I do want to note specifically on the dispatch side of our operation, that we do provide those services at cost. And so we work with the county and city every year to determine how we're going to move, how we're going to grow as an organization, and pass those costs along to the city and Bryan at a 1-to-1 ratio. We do not make a profit on our dispatch operation. In terms of just general 911 statistics, last year, our last full calendar year, 2021, in Brazos County, we had about 106,000 911 calls. Those calls were answered primarily at two dispatch centers. The Brazos County Dispatch Center, that's just a couple blocks from here, handles about 55% of those calls. The remainder go to College Station. A small portion of those calls are then transferred to some smaller dispatch centers on campus for the University Police Department and University EMS service. In terms of the types of calls we get, you see in the bottom left there, the vast majority of our calls are now wireless. When we started out 25, 30 years ago, you couldn't even call 911 from a wireless device, and now that's the vast majority of what we're doing. So it takes a lot of work behind the scenes in terms of technology to keep up with the pace of the devices that everyone has in their pockets today. In terms of dispatch statistics, these are some detailed numbers you can look at a little bit closer later. The relevant part of this is one of the metrics that we use when we determine how we're going to divide up costs between the city of Bryan and Brazos County. And as you see there on the bottom, just in general, when we talk about overall calls for service, about 67% originate in the city of Bryan, 33% in Brazos County, and then we give you a breakdown of those Brazos County calls, which ones are handled by the sheriff's office, the constables, or the volunteer fire department. In terms of our structure, I report to a board of managers. We have 5 members. They serve for 2-year terms. They provide oversight for the district. And again, the makeup of our board is set forth in the Texas Health and Safety Code in Chapter 772. The Commissioners Court appoints 2 members. Volunteer fire departments jointly appoint 1. and then the municipalities located within our service area, which is the political boundary of Brazos County, also appoint 2 members. This is our overall organizational chart for the upcoming fiscal year. We're going to have 48 full-time employees. And as I alluded to earlier, we run the 911 and the dispatch business as 2 separate businesses. Everything's color-coded here on this chart, and you'll find similar colors in the budget document that was provided to you guys. The positions up in the maroon area are funded with 911 service fees, and the gray box at the bottom represents our dispatch operation as a whole, and everything within that is what we fund with the dispatch contracts with Brazos County and the City of Bryan, and again divide those costs up between the city and the county. In terms of what we're hoping to accomplish next year in terms of our dispatch operations, I had a sit-down meeting after the initial proposal of our budget to our board of managers. I sat down with the county judge and some representatives from the City of Bryan City Manager's office to kind of talk about what we'd like to accomplish, kind of what kind of funding may be available. What I typically try to do from a year-to-year basis is keep the cost increase under 5%. Sometimes that's difficult to do, and this year is one of those years because we're trying to add an additional dispatcher. And so what we're proposing is to add 1 new dispatcher, split the cost of that dispatcher between City of Bryan and Brazos County 50-50, and they would help man what we call a tactical radio position that supports really all of the agencies that we dispatch for in our dispatch center, whether that be the Bryan Fire Department or the Volunteer Fire Department. They essentially help those dispatchers when we have multiple calls going at any given time. And then if there is any downtime while they're working, they can help answer 911 and non-emergency calls. In terms of the funding ratio between the City of Bryan and Brazos County, we're proposing no change to that from our previous fiscal year in 2022. So the City of Bryan will pay for 63.3% of the operation, whereas the county will fund the remaining 36.7%. Another significant factor in our budget this year on the dispatch side is the contribution to our retirement system. It's going to go up to 11.82%. And you'll see there's a specific line item in the budget that outlines exactly how much that impacts each of the organizations involved. The district had subsidized that rate for the last 2 years in an effort to keep costs at an absolute minimum during the COVID pandemic. But we're trying to kind of roll that back to our normal business model and have everyone pay the required rate of 11.82%. In terms of our dispatch operations, we're having really kind of a vanilla year, if you will. We don't have any huge projects that are slated to go into effect in this upcoming fiscal year. I have included some merit and market adjustments for staff members that are funded with 911 fees. And we are going to add 2 additional 911 workstations at the College Station Police Department. So that'll bring their total up to 9 workstations, and that will completely outfit their new dispatch center with 911 answering positions. We're also looking to upgrade some handheld radios in the dispatch center and then have some funding for some computers and printers that are in the administrative area outside of what would be considered the actual 911 system. In terms of ongoing projects and goals, one of the things we're looking to explore is additional health insurance options for our employees to try to stay competitive with some of the local municipalities. And we're able to actually roll out some health savings accounts to our employees that they haven't had access to before, so we're excited about that. We want to continue to pursue a new facility, whether that's on our own or hopefully a joint facility with the Emergency Operations Center and some other dispatch facilities in the county. On the 911 side, we're going to begin our transition to what's called Next Gen 911 Core Services, which is essentially upgrading the back end of our 911 system, the part that processes and routes calls from the service provider, to a system that's much more robust, redundant, and reliable than what we have today. We're going to wrap up a project that deals with 911 network between our 2 hosts in Bryan and College Station, again to add reliability to our system. And then I'm part of an organization called the Texas 911 Alliance, It's a group made up of all of the 911 districts in the state. There's 28 911 districts in the state of Texas. I serve as vice chairman of that organization. We worked during the last legislative session at the state to introduce some legislation that would increase the wireless service fee. It's currently at 50 cents per subscriber per month, and it's been that way for 25 years. And so we're hoping that to work with the legislation in order to give us a little bit higher cap on that funding to ensure we have some long-term sustained funds for 911 as we move forward. And the other thing we want to continue to do is promote the consolidation of CAD systems in Brazos County. CAD stands for Computer Aided Dispatch System, and it's what we use to track all of our units, track of all our events that are going on at any given time. We have 4 dispatch centers in Brazos County, and we have 4 CAD systems. And so we think there's definitely some opportunity there to perhaps save some money, but more importantly, communicate better amongst agencies by having one platform for our CAD system. So this all translates into dollars, and our total budget between 911 operations and dispatch operations is just over $5 million for fiscal year 2023. And you can see again, we split up those budgets by funding source. 911 operations is going to cost just over $1.6 million. That's up 2.2% over last year. And dispatch operations is proposed at just over $3.4 million. And that's up 6.2% over last fiscal year. If we look at that $3.4 million and we break it down as to what's the responsibility of the city of Bryan and what's responsibility of Brazos County, again, we're going to use that same funding split we used last year where the county pays for 36.7%. So their share comes out to $1.25 million. Again, 6.22% increase over fiscal year 22. As I mentioned earlier, I would love for that to be a little lower and preferably below 5%. That's very difficult to do in a year where we're adding personnel. And so, in fact, in order to do that, we had to make no changes to our dispatch pay scale this year. While those people, most of them will still realize, or at least have the opportunity to see a pay increase this year because we have a stepped pay system. We won't make any changes to that rate. So hopefully that's something we can look at next year. It's making some changes to that pay scale so we can stay competitive in the market. Our starting pay for a dispatcher, and our pay scale is listed, I think, on page 4 of our budget if you want to look at it, starts at $17.50 an hour, which used to be relatively good, but the job market is very competitive now, and there's a lot of other jobs that start at $17.50, and many of them don't require you to work nights and weekends and holidays. And so we want to make sure from a pay standpoint that we stay very competitive. And that brings us to our most valuable asset, which is our people. So everything that you see up there, when we look at this $1.25 million, 95.3% of that goes to pay personnel costs, and that's wages and benefits. And so there are costs for supplies, software maintenance, training and education, and so forth. But as you can see, the vast majority of that money that you spend goes directly towards labor, essentially. So our average dispatcher at our center has about 7 years of experience, and our staffing level right now is 97%. So we've been very fortunate to be able to maintain relatively high staffing levels in an industry that has traditionally struggled to get and retain good employees. So in terms of the next steps for our budget, we have to allow by statute 45 days for the county and the local municipalities to review that budget, provide input to our board. One thing to note is when I say local municipalities in this case, we're not just talking Bryan and College Station. That also includes Curtin, Wixon Valley, and even the city of Navasota, who has a small footprint within the very southern portion of Brazos County. State statute also requires that our budget be approved by Commissioners Court, and I understand that's on the agenda for the September 13th meeting. And then, of course, we'll need final approval of the budget and the dispatch service contracts from our Board of Managers, and that's slated to take place on the 15th of September. If all that goes well, our fiscal year starts October 1st, and we'll have an approved budget by that time. So I'm here to answer any other questions you have. I know I glazed over a lot of this stuff. There's a lot more information in front of you, both in the packet that you have, and then for those that aren't familiar, there's a summary sheet on 11 by 17 that summarizes everything that's in this larger document. So if you just want to get down to the nuts and bolts and look at basic categories and how we divide that money up between 911, City of Bryan, and Brazos County, this summary sheet is a great place to start. So, are there any questions?
I have one question, but I'm not exactly sure how to ask you, so I'm just going to go for the straightest route. Where we're talking about 911 wages, particularly line item 9 and line item 10, it looks like you figured in about a 5% increase this year for those two positions. Does that
Which line item are you looking at? Are you looking in the booklet itself?
911 wages in the booklet?
Gotcha.
This one right here.
Okay, 9 and 10?
9 and 10, it looks like you're figuring about a 5% increase in those two positions.
That's correct. Most of the positions that we have that are funded by 911 received a 4% increase, and that was based on action that our board
So
took.
you're saying 1% merit on top of that?
I proposed a 5% increase for our associate director, just as kind of a market adjustment, and to compensate her for the great job that she does. And then the board of managers sets my increase, which was 5% this year. Yes, sir.
And that's what they've already decided, they've agreed on that?
Yes, our board has.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Appreciate the job you do.
Okay.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you for your time. I
Great
appreciate
job.
Thank you.
Voice for Children.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Amy Faulkner, and I'm the Executive Director with Voices for Children, so thank you so much for having me here today.
Amy, could you talk into the microphone?
Sure.
please?
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So Voices for Children, hopefully most of you are aware of what we do, but our mission is to improve the lives of children in foster care by providing powerful volunteer advocacy, ensuring that each of those children is placed in a safe and permanent home. VFC began serving in Brazos County in 2001, and since then our program has grown to include 7 counties and a staff of 14 individuals who tirelessly work to advocate for children and families in our communities. However, the backbone of our agency is the volunteers who work on behalf of the families in our community. Those volunteers are trained by our staff and then sworn in by local judges to serve as advocates for kids in foster care. So this year, Voices for Children's operating budget was just under $1 million. And with that operating budget, we've been able to make a large impact in our community. As an agency, we've served 415 children, with 236 of them originating from Brazos County. 83 of those children so far this year have achieved permanency, meaning that they've either been returned to their home of origin, placed permanently with family members, or have been adopted. VFC has had 169 volunteers serving in all 7 of our counties, and 125 of those folks have served just in Brazos County alone. And those 125 volunteers have donated more than 5,600 hours in service to the children and families that we serve, and driven more than 40,000 miles across Texas visiting kids. This fiscal year, VFC has encountered a number of challenges, as did many nonprofits in our community. The continued effects of COVID-19 impacts on family and children in our community was noticeable in the work that we do. Children continue to come to the attention of CPS due to increased strains on families with limited resources. While the number of children coming into care rose at a steady rate, Voices for Children was not able to recruit enough volunteers to keep up with the increasing number. A change in leadership in March of 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic, and another one again at the end of August 2021 were unexpected events for an agency that was striving to provide quality advocacy for the children in Brazos County. Staff and volunteer burnout and limited human resources led to a difficult decision to press pause in January of 2022 on accepting new cases in all 7 of our counties. Having to press pause has allowed our staff and our volunteers an opportunity to reset expectations with the end goal of increasing the quality of advocacy for all of the children that we serve, ensuring that each of them have a CASA volunteer. Brazos County's continued support of Voices for Children and the work that we do is a valued partnership in caring for our community's most vulnerable citizens. We are requesting additional funding to support our increased recruitment and training efforts. We're increasing our efforts to ensure those living in our community are aware of Voices for Children and the work that we do and the need for more CASA volunteers. We're establishing 2 new positions to increase funding and awareness in the coming years. We've added a development director position who will be leading the efforts to raise community awareness by increasing our agency visibility in the community with the goal of increasing volunteer participation, donor engagement, and community and corporate partnerships. We've also are adding a new grants manager position who will be exploring new funding sources to increase the diversity of our revenue streams. We anticipate a decrease in our state and federal funding as we launch 2 of the current counties that we serve as their own independent CASA program, as well as state and federal budget cuts to our VOCA and our CBC funding. So we're asking for an additional $15,000 into what we received last year. And we recognize that this is not a small increase, but we hope that you see the value in providing this additional funding. $75,000 in funding works out to be an annual cost of just $317 per child at the 236 children that we've already served this year. And we do anticipate serving more children next year. So in addition to funds that we receive from Brazos County, we're fortunate to receive funding each year from CBC and VOCA. Those funds are managed by Texas CASA, which is our statewide agency, and they ensure that we have a financial base to serve the children in our communities. We are also requesting funding from the other counties where we serve, in Burleson County, Grimes County, and Leon County, and we're hopeful that each of these counties will partner with us as well so that we can ensure that the kids in their counties have a CASA volunteer. We're also continuing to diversify our funding sources and recognize the need to garner a wide range of support to ensure we are financially stable now and in the future. Our annual Change a Child Story Gala is our largest fundraiser, in addition to 2 new fundraisers that we've added, the Cheers to Craft Beers and Wine and Wassail, where we've partnered with Destination Bryan, and we hold a golf tournament annually every year. With the addition of the development director and the grants manager, we're seeking new funding sources from private foundations, individual donors, and corporate partnerships. We're striving for good financial stewardship and planning for the future because we know that these are needed to ensure the success of Voices for Children. Do you have any questions for me?
Amy, what kind of support are you getting from those other counties now?
We have requested $8,000 from Burleson County. Burleson County, I'm not sure the history of when we have asked or what we have asked in the past, but to my knowledge, they have not provided financial support for us. Grimes County provides $6,500 and has been pretty consistent the past several years in providing that. Leon County is providing $2,000 to support us.
So are you asking for a 25% increase in each of those counties, like you are Brazos County?
So we requested $1,000 in Leon County, and they gave us $2,000. The $6,500 in Grimes County, in the past we have asked for more, and they have consistently kept it at $6,500. So me being new to this position, I did not increase that ask this year. And then Burleson County, this is the first time that I'm aware of that we've asked for funding. So we asked for $8,000 from that county to help serve those kids. questions?
So there was a 50% increase in funding in 2021, and now we're looking for and the request is for a 25%. We went from 40 to 60 in 21 in Brazos County, and now the request is for another 15,000, which is 25%.
Yes. Yes, and again, as we anticipate budget decreases from BOCA funding and our CVC funding, we've been told by Texas CASA, our state agency, to expect a 25% decrease, and so we're working to diversify our revenue streams in lots of different capacities so that we can meet the needs of the kids that we serve.
Sounds like more unfunding of mandates, or
Yeah, it's always been that.
it's
Any more questions?
Thank you for the job you do.
Thank you.
Boys and Girls Club.
Hello, and good afternoon. My name is Maria Wiggins. I'm the Director of Marketing and Resource Development for the Boys and Girls Club of the Brazos Valley. The Boys and Girls Club of the Brazos Valley is entering an exciting time, and we have a lot of new activities and things to share with you about what's going on at the Boys and Girls Club of the Brazos Valley. We have two campuses to serve area children, the primary being the Newman Adam Bryan campus that's located on 1910 Beck Street. As you likely know, that building opened up to the community in February of this past year, 2022. And then we also have the Caldwell campus, which is on Fawn in Caldwell as well, serving a smaller amount of youth. The Boys and Girls Club obviously has a long history of serving the area in Brazos Valley. We were founded in 1959 as the Boys Club of Bryan, and in 1990 they became the Boys and Girls Clubs. We serve all area youth ages 6 to 18, and we have two parts of our membership, both the after-school program that runs during the school year and the summer program as well that runs June and July and a part of August. The cost for those memberships are only $25 for the entire school year for each child, and the $45 membership for each child for the entire summer. The programs are focused on academic success, character and leadership, and healthy lifestyles. You'll see a picture there of our new club located at 1910 Beck Street. If you can have the next slide. Oh, I can have the clicker. You want me to give the clicker? Oh, I'll take the clicker then. We have 4 key areas that we serve that are the essence of our Boys and Girls Club programs that are critical to ensuring that we make a positive impact in the lives of every member. Those include our dedicated youth facility. Obviously, our new facility is neighborhood-based and is centered in the community that we serve, and providing youth programs and activities for kids, like I said, ages 6 to 18. We are open daily and available during the times that youth are not in school and need a positive and safe and engaging place to spend their time. That is including those after school times, but also we are open on staff development days for Bryan ISD and Caldwell ISD to serve children on those days that the school is closed. We have professional trained youth development staff that serve as role models, tutors, and mentors to area youth during those times. And the club is affordable, and so we are focused on those who need us most. Though we serve all youth in the county, keeping our prices the way we do ensure that those that need us most can access our services. So we are really seeking out those youth that maybe cannot afford any other youth or summer programs or access to other community programs, which is why we keep our membership the way we do. How we change lives. So there are programs with the academics focused, and our programs after school with the after school tutoring. The 97% of club teens expect to graduate from high school, and 80% have submitted applications for post-secondary education. 76% of low-income members ages 12 to 18 regularly reported receiving mostly A's and B's on the report card. 75% regularly attending members say they volunteer in their community, club, or school, and are staying active in the communities we serve, and 87% of members say they can stand up for what is right. 91% report that as a leader, they make sure that everyone feels included as and important. And we have a variety of programs that we deliver every afternoon to ensure that those character development, academic support is fostered every day in the club. So our core programs that we serve, like I said, are focused on character and leadership, education, health and wellness, the arts, sports and recreation, workforce readiness, and inclusion initiatives. And we're in particular excited about our cooking program, which I included a flyer about as well. We've added a director of culinary arts. With our new building, we have added a culinary teaching kitchen, which not only allows us to provide programming to serve kids that are interested in a vocation in culinary arts, but just general cooking as well, and improving those skills. During the summer, they've worked with our director of culinary arts, those that are interested to learn about basic cooking skills, which include the arts, but also incorporate lessons in math and science, and the science of cooking, as well as partnering with local restaurants like Snooze AM Eatery that's come in to provide. Their head chef has provided some cooking instruction as well and demonstrations to our local youth, and we're looking to grow that program in the coming year as well. Hopefully to be a feeder to local restaurants and food service industries, showing the local youth that that's more than just being a line cook, that there's more to the food industry and being a head chef and being a general manager and things of that nature. And so really getting them acclimated and excited about careers in that industry as well. The kitchen also provides us an amazing opportunity to serve the youth nutritious after school snacks. I call them more light meals. They are amazing. They serve everything from tacos to nachos to hot dogs when they come in. The kids obviously are hungry, and that meal might be the last meal of their day because we are open till 7 o'clock in the afternoon, and many of them are younger and may have had lunch at 10:30, 11 o'clock. So we serve them that light meal with fruit and a juice or milk to ensure that they are ready to learn and play and can take advantage, and their brains are ready to take advantage of the programs that we offer there at the club. So some of the programs that we offer at the club, Boys and Girls Club of America kind of creates these programs and has a curriculum for these programs, and it's up to each Boys and Girls Club to pick those programs that are that serve the interests and needs of the youth and the community that you serve. Some of those programs, like you see here, are Smart Moves, which is prevention and education program addressing drug and alcohol use and premature sexual activity. Smart Girls and Passport to Manhood are complementary programs for boys and girls, which provide health, fitness, prevention, education, self-esteem enhancement for boys. That looks like as well character leadership and lessons in manhood. Things like how to tie a tie to how to create and develop healthy relationships and foster healthy relationships in growing up. The Torch Club is a small youth leadership and service club for boys and girls ages 11 to 13, those tweens area that is always a difficult and critical stage in their life. And Healthy Habits focuses on good nutrition and physical activity and overall well-being. And those are just a sample of over 20 plus programs that the Boys and Girls Club of America allows us to pick and choose from to deliver. Youth development strategy, we want to make sure that the programs that we are providing to them provide a sense of competence, a sense of youthfulness, belonging, and power and influence, so that they have an opportunity, that they see that they have a place to belong, that there's something that they can do well, and a setting where they know that they are fit, they can fit in and are accepted no matter what, and a chance where they can be heard as well and influence the decisions and things that are happening in the club as well and take ownership of that. Our hours of operation after school, like I mentioned, are Monday through Thursday from 3 to 7, and on Fridays we close a little early at 6 p.m. We are also, like I mentioned, open on the Bryan ISD staff development days for Caldwell ISD as well, and we're open fully on those days from 8 to 5 p.m. That also ensures that parents, we are open longer than many after-school programs locally, and that ensures that parents, working parents, can extend their hours or ensure that they fulfill their hours and not have to leave work early, improving the economic impact in the community as well. And of course, ensuring that kids, that parents don't have to take off days of work or spend PTO time on those days where Bryan ISD is closed for those staff development days. I want to include a few pictures of our new building on Beck Street. If you haven't had a chance to stop by, please do so. I'd be happy to facilitate a tour for anyone interested. That's a little shot of our kitchen there on the bottom right, and of course our new gym is kind of the heart of the facility as well. We also have a athletic program. So the Boys and Girls Club has a long history of providing basketball and football in the Brazos Valley. That of course took a pause with COVID, but that has been brought back to life in this past spring. And our basketball program relaunched, and even we were thrilled to invite and welcome 400 players in our basketball league. We organized into 38 teams. We hosted 3 games in our gym every night. Our season was 8 weeks long. The cost of the season was only $65 for the entire season, and that ensured that every team got an average of 10 games, I believe. And those games, like I said, happened every night, and they were 3 nights a week, or 3 games a night, and we had 5 games every Saturday. So that's just a start. That's a little shot of the crowd and the parents and families that were welcomed into the gym every evening. Our track season quickly followed this summer, which our athletes saw great success and went to the TAAF regional or state tournament. 11 of them qualified out of the 40 track athletes that we had this summer. But of course we're just getting started with those programs. Our athletic programs will include this fall cheer, volleyball, and tackle and flag football for area youth ages 6 to 12. We have several community partnerships as well. Those are just a sample of actually the events that are going on currently. We are always opening our doors to other local nonprofits and seeking out partnerships to ensure that our facility and our club is not just a resource for our members and our youth, but our families and the community at large. We are hosting a back-to-school backpack giveaway in partnership with BB Casa this coming Saturday. We're expecting to give out over 500 backpacks and welcome, I'm sure, many more families than that into the club for events of that nature. We just hosted a back-to-school event in partnership with the Blue Cross Blue Shield. Or another backpack giveaway, and we are partnering with the Chamber for an upcoming event as well to welcome in the minority small business kind of workshop and forum as well. And that's just a sample of just a few. We also have partnerships with the Brazos Valley Food Bank and have opened our parking lot for every 4th Saturday of the month to have a mobile food bank as well that has been very well received by the community. So there's multiple ways to get involved. Volunteering, of course, is one. We are always relying on the volunteers donating, and there's multiple opportunities to do that. And, of course, advocating for the Boys and Girls Club and helping to spread the word about the services that we provide. But as I mentioned, our mantra at the club since we've moved in to the new facility on Beck Street is that we're just getting started, and we have plans to increase our staff as well as, like I said, our culinary program and many other programs that we provide. The athletics program, I know our athletic director is extremely driven, and we are looking to even further bring additional programs in athletics to area youth, including baseball, softball, tennis, martial arts. The sky's the limit, and really we're letting the youth lead as to what their interests are and what they'd like for us to see bring next to our athletic program. Does anyone have any questions?
I realize that you have relocated after a long time.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know, has the membership demographics changed, or did you lose members from the William Joe Bryan address when you transferred to the Beck Street? How has that affected your attendance and the participation?
Sure, that's a great question. Our membership was hovering about 60 members a day at the previous location. This new location is double the square footage, and it allowed us to welcome many more kids. And with the interest in the new building, we didn't lose any members, but we gained a lot. We saw a huge membership explosion. In fact, welcoming all those youth that were in the basketball program were also members of the club. So we added, just this past spring, over 400 members to the club. We didn't lose any members, but we've gained a lot more members, not just from our area, but the athletics program and the interest in the new club has also brought in a renewed interest in the Boys and Girls Club. And we've seen kids from College Station, kids that are homeschooled, kids from charter schools, all come to the Boys and Girls Club. And it really is our vision for the Boys and Girls Club to be that melting pot of local youth, where all local youth can come together from various school districts and backgrounds, and to come together and make friends across city lines.
That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
So-
And what about your Caldwell?
The Caldwell? Mhm.
Yeah, that population is a little different, I understand. What are your numbers there?
Our numbers there is we cap our membership in Caldwell at 70, and the age that we serve is capped at 13. It is a smaller area, and the location of that doesn't lend itself for us to have more members than that at this time. Even if we were to add additional staff, we really, that facility doesn't support a lot more than that. It might support a little more than that. We have a vision for our after-school program here. By contrast, our membership right now, we are capping at about 250 members for our after-school membership for the Newman Adam building in Bryan, and that's around 70. And those 70 in Caldwell, there's definitely a demand there. Those 70 memberships, I know, are filling quickly for the school year, and they do stay hovering every day. Their daily attendance is really about close to that, like probably 60 or so after school. Our daily attendance at the Bryan Club went from, like I said, 60 every day to when we moved into the new building. We have about 125 to 130 that we serve, and I anticipate that to increase over this next year, which we plan on adding some additional staff to accommodate that, to make sure our ratios stay in line with what they should for our adult to youth ratio.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And the Caldwell unit is self-sustaining?
The Caldwell unit is under our umbrella. They do have their own fundraising event that they host there. That's coming up actually at the end on the 20th of this month, called Kickoff to Great Futures. But they are under the Boys and Girls Club, the Brazos Valley umbrella. But they do have their own budget. Yes, ma'am.
And College Station's program at the Lincoln Center, is that independent totally of y'all?
That is independent of us. Yes, sir.
Okay, and that's funded primarily by City of College Station and there are other sources?
That's my understanding, but because it's independent, I'm not for sure of their funding
Yeah,
sources.
Yeah, I think it's
College
part of the
Station.
Parks.
And Rec program.
Of College Station?
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know how much that went through. Okay.
No,
Yeah, it's
Quite
completely
a few
separate.
years ago, it was part of the Boys and Girls Club, but
they're
it's
independent.
been separate for
all-
at least
All
7 or 8
funded by
years.
Parks, and I'm sure there's some CDBG money that goes into it too.
To the Lincoln
Oh,
Center?
Steve.
Yeah, probably.
Excuse me, Steve. Steve, they're asking that you speak into the mic.
Oh, sorry about that. I was asking about, it's kind of, we have different arrangements. I know College Station runs but they're no longer affiliated with Boys and Girls Club?
No.
At the Lincoln Center?
No,
It's all
it's
just about it?
independent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you, College Station. Parks and Rec.
yep.
And that's a great program,
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
and Boys and
is.
Girls Club partners with the Bryan School District. The buses pick up the kids.
Correct.
Or drop the kids off.
We have developed an amazing partnership with the Bryan ISD, and they have been able to supplement our after-school transportation, so that there are certain bus routes that pick up now from Bryan ISD schools and bring them directly to the club, which allows us to offset some of that transportation cost. Also, our transportation, we only had one van and one small bus, which we are looking to upgrade, but that allows us to serve a lot more kids at the club than we were previously able to provide after-school transportation for, which I'm sure also helps with increase our numbers as well. So Bryan ISD has been a wonderful partner in us, and in both that and other ways as well.
It's interesting, we've just got different models for the same types of things going on in the community. Head Start's another one. Head Start's a part of CSISD, but in City of Bryan, it's not a part. Head Start's not directly affiliated with Bryan ISD. So it's interesting to see all the different ways people go about accomplishing some of the same things, but they're not the same.
Steve, you have different chiefs with different ideas and tribe members, so it's very diverse in
Yeah.
our community.
Yep.
But it does work.
Yep.
Okay.
And you do a great job. Really appreciate the work you do.
Thank
Yes,
you.
we
And the
got
new
it.
facility is amazing. If you
Yeah,
haven't
it
seen it, you ought to
really
go
is.
take
It was.
take a look at it.
Thank y'all for having
Yes.
the chamber, having the event out there, and getting everybody a chance to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it. And we welcome any other nonprofits as well to come in and see us and let us know how we can partner with you. We have a classroom that we invite nonprofits and other community resources to have workshops for our kids and our families. And so we're looking forward to even growing our partnerships in the area.
Great, great. Good
Thank you.
idea.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Aguilan, you may.
I'm Peggy Sherman, and I'm treasurer of the board of directors for the Aggieland Humane Society. This is a much more formal presentation than I was expecting. So I'm sorry, we're all numbers. I don't have any pretty pictures for you today.
That's all right.
Yeah. Can you tell us,
Well, our
share your
mission is,
numbers with
yeah.
me.
Well, of course, our mission is to provide safe and humane care for the animals in the area, both those that we serve as Brazos County as their animal care facility, as well as College Station. We contract with them for their animal care as well. And then there's the broader community, and when we have available space, and it's getting pretty crowded out there right now, we do take in animals from either their owners or strays that are brought in. We also provide spay-neuter services, and we do trap, neuter, and return programs for stray cats, trying to reduce their colonies. So where would you like me to begin?
Well, I have a question. We've been reading about these beagles that have been, these 2,000 beagles from puppy mills that have been, and I was wondering and they're going out to animal shelters around the country, if the Humane Society is going to be getting any of those?
We have not received any requests for that kind of care. One of the major things that we've done in the last few years is develop connections with humane societies across the country, and we have a lot of large dogs that come in, pit bulls especially, that don't have the best reputations here, but they can be absolutely sweethearts, that we transport out. We have transported to Washington State, Vermont, Colorado. We have our own van now that has the kennels in it. We have on order a new van that is larger, that we can transport more, and also allows for the drivers to sleep in the van and have the air conditioning on, so that we don't have to worry about them driving too long, because you can't really stop by on the road and let the animals out to take care of themselves. And that we have been blessed that a foundation has donated the full cost of that vehicle.
Explain to me, you mentioned you're driving and transporting.
Mhm.
Where are you transporting to or from, or?
We're taking animals at our shelter that we cannot find homes for to other shelters in the country who have shortages of animals.
Is that just all around the country, or just in the region, or?
No, we have been to Washington State. We have connections with a facility in Washington State, one in Colorado, and as I said, in Vermont. And we are trying to develop more, just
So
because
there's a network that allows you to know who needs what where?
Yes. We always,
Great.
it's
Okay.
always, we know what their facilities are, how they take care of the animals. We search for
I
no-kill facilities.
I've heard about the local parents that will foster
Yes, we have.
their homes for.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
Some
made
of
it
your-
through COVID and the current rash that has been going on without having our fosters. We are very blessed.
Great. So on a given day, what's your population?
On a given day, I can't really tell you, but like our average on an annual basis is 3,000 animals. That's cats, dogs, chickens, pigs, miniature horses. We've had a horse last
Yeah.
year.
I did read about some time ago a horse that was in pretty bad shape.
Yeah,
I'll just say it
abused
like
and
that.
neglected.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah, we will take them in for immediate care. We don't really have the facilities to treat them well, but then we find a home for them to go to, or another facility that does handle large animals.
Right.
What's-
Yes.
What's the cost of an adoption?
An adoption for a dog is $90. I think it is. This isn't my area of expertise.
not.
And I think cats are around 35. We do have specials. Like last month, we had 2 weeks that they could take them free because we were just overloaded with animals.
And pardon me, these animals are spayed and neutered
Yes, all
before they're
animals that,
adopted. isn't it?
yes, all animals that we adopt out are spayed and neutered.
Spayed and neutered,
Mhm.
okay.
And you offer spay and neuter services to the community? Like if somebody had a stray but they wanted to pay for it?
Yes, we do. We have low-cost spay neuter for the communities. A few years ago, the first year we started doing this, and I think the second year, we had a special budget that the county and the College Station set aside for us to give certificates that the policemen or the animal care officers could hand out to people who needed them. We've taken that under our wing now.
Right. Well, thank you so very much.
You know,
I know we have fertile cat
Yeah.
issues. I'm not gonna bring it up, but you all
Yes, the
seem
feral
to
cats
be-
are a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
yes.
And we do, and individuals can bring them in, make an appointment to bring them in. We will give them the trap to trap the animal and bring it in. We'll do the spay neuter and then ask them to return. Sometimes if it's a large colony, you make us aware of it, we will have volunteers that will take care of those needs.
Well, I just appreciate your services when I hear of all the things that you guys do.
Thank you.
It's a
Thank you.
blessing to have you in this community, and when I see some of these stray dogs, I want to call you and tell you we need more services, but that's not your area.
Yes, well, our goal, we have hired a company to help us develop a capital campaign.
Mm-hmm,
Our facilities are getting a little old
yeah.
and a little small, especially since our region is growing so greatly. The county, the cities as well. So we are going to be hopefully working on a capital campaign and maybe in the next 5 years have a complete new facility.
Well, good.
and you have lots of land on the Leonard Road property.
Yes, we do.
No, that's great.
Yes, we do.
And then okay, so this is another one of those, everybody does their own thing. City of Bryan operates their own
They operate
sheltering
their own.
Mhm.
facility.
Yeah, and we partner with College Station on the Humane Society.
Mhm.
Yeah, I noticed their contribution request
Yeah.
is gonna be $276,000 in the budget. So,
Yeah.
and, how do y'all weight that? I noticed that.
Well, we have to
you're asking for
operate
an
in
increase.
arrears.
Okay.
We actually, you'll see that we take out all of our, a portion of the administrative costs are under our animal care
Right.
column. But from our auditor's report, we separate out development and most of the administrative costs. And then we use the animal care costs and the number of animals that were cared for. We have to look back because our numbers are for the fiscal year that ended September 30th of 2021.
Yeah.
So we use those numbers. You can see that on page 5. Yes, page 5, how we allocate.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, your population of animals is probably going up that are licensed.
This year, yes,
but-
we've already handled more.
But your Brazos County tag revenue was down by almost $50,000
Yeah,
for
it
your
was amazing.
proposed budget.
Uh,
Somebody's not registering their animals.
Yes, yes.
That means animals that haven't probably received vaccines as well.
Exactly.
Probably.
And it can be animals who have received their, their rabies vaccines, but when they leave us, they have to get a tag.
Right.
They have to have their rabies shots. They have to be spayed, neutered, and the other vaccinations they need.
Yeah.
But that next year, they don't have to follow up with the tag.
Yeah. And then some of these animal lovers that breed their own never get vaccinated,
Mhm.
Steve. It's
The only way it happens
Scary.
sometimes,
Mhm.
unfortunately, is if they get picked up by animal care and bring them to
Right.
us and we take care of them.
right, which is scary.
Yeah. Is that typical to have a year up, a year higher than a year lower?
Yeah,
Is it a year
that's
higher
why
than a
we-
year lower
yes, it's
because of
been
the
that
2-year
way.
The 2-year period?
We have numbers clear back
Okay.
to 2012, and it has been this way. That's why we look back, because we have no way of
Mhm.
projecting.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we need to get them all we need to get all our pets on the same cycle.